Hi, Richard Smith here from the Finance Zone. I've been talking today about NEST, which is the National Employment Savings Trust, which is about to be rolled out to employees and employers very shortly. In fact, from October 2012, it's going to be the de facto standard for anyone that's working for a company and wants a pension scheme. The employers will have to enrol all of their eligible workers within the scheme, and there are some benefits, and there's only going to be an overall cap on charges of 1.8%, which in all fairness should make it fairly attractive for most employees that are looking to make pension contributions. In addition to that, there is also a further charge, which is a 0.3% annual management charge, which will apply on the value of your fund on an annual basis. So on the face of it, all well and good. But what do you get for that? They're providing a range of default investment funds, which means that if you don't want to make a decision, there'll be a default option, which means that your pension fund will be invested in one of their recommended default portfolios. But they will not provide you with any advice about the right choice of funds, depending on your own attitude to investment risk and what you're trying to achieve. And nor will you get any advice about how NEST fits in with the rest of your planning in terms of what other schemes you've got in place, whether you've got previous company schemes, whether you've got personal pensions in place, because NEST will not provide you with advice and guidance in relation to that. So there's absolutely nothing at all within NEST that's going to provide you with the help you possibly may need in relation to your existing pension plans. The reality is, in this modern world, as you know full well, you get nothing for nothing. Dinada, zip, zilch, whatever you want to call it, pay nothing, get nothing. But there's a bigger problem than that, and this is the problem. This is a graph of the FTSE All-Share Index, which is a basket of all the shares in the UK. And as you can see here, the start at the week of the 10th of January 2000, right through till last week, had you invested your money within the FTSE All-Share, which is just a starting point, you would have made no money. In actual fact, you would have been showing a small loss now. So over the last 10 years, had you invested money in a fund that mirrored the FTSE All-Share Index, you would have effectively made a loss. Which is worrying in itself, because it means that over the last 10 years you would have made nothing from the investment markets. Now, depending on the range of funds you were invested in, depending on the type of index you were investing in, would depend on what your actual returns would have been. What I'm trying to point out here is the fact is that if you just take default options and you do nothing, or do not consider what the investment links are and the investment options are, there's a good chance you're going to be getting a nil return. More importantly, this is the figure from the Bank of England, which is their inflation calculator, which shows that if you had £1,000 invested in 2000, that in real terms that needs to be £1,312.74, because since 2000 to 2010, your money would have needed to grow by at least 31.274%, 2.7% a year, just to keep pace with inflation. So let's put that in perspective for you. Let's say you invested £1,000 in January 2000, and the FTSE in January 2002, the FTSE All-Share Index was 3153. Now, I know some of you are going to say that's not a fair comparison, but it's a starting point. And indeed, there's a lot of investment funds that have performed a lot worse than the FTSE All-Share. So let's put that into a bit of perspective. So let's go back again here. 10th of January 2002, the FTSE All-Share was 3153. On the 21st of March, the All-Share was at 3065. So as you can see there, it's made a small loss over a 10-year period. 88 points, or 88 ticks, is the amount of the loss. But inflation alone meant that the 3153 index needed to be at 4135 just to keep pace with inflation. So if, in all fairness, you're getting a double whammy here, not only have you not made any money over the 10-year period had you invested like this, you would have, in actual fact, in real terms, been substantially out of pocket, because inflation alone means that it needs to be at 4135. But then it also gets worse, because had you been invested in the NEST pension, charges would have come to 151 ticks or points. So, initial charge would have been 151. We've also got the issue of there's the initial charges, plus there's the annual charges, which also has an impact on the value of your pot. So overall, that would have left you, had you made the investments into Nest in 2000 and invested into an index tracking fund which tracked the FTSE All-Share Index, you would have been left with 2914, which is a fairly substantial loss, in all fairness, even after inflation. Anyway, the purpose of this very brief video is just to outline for you that pension advice has never been more important. It's absolutely vital that not only do you get advice, but you also get a grip on this yourself, start to understand exactly what the impacts are of your investment planning. And pension options are under the spotlight because many do not deliver. This is a classic example of looking at the new thing the government's going to be rolling out for you and everyone else to be investing in. The reality is there's a good chance they're not going to deliver for you. You also need to remember that pensions are often inflexible and require good levels of advice. All you need to do it yourself, and in order to do it yourself you do need the skills and the information required, which is why we run a business called Be Your Own Pension Advisor, which gives you the training and the skills and the information you need to be able to take some of this on board. Retirement is not a game and needs to be taken seriously. The bottom line is now, if you're in your 30s or your 40s or your 50s, or even in your 60s, retirement options need to be considered very, very carefully from a very early age. Because as you've seen, even the sort of product that the government is rolling out now and suggesting that everybody joins is not going to be the panacea that you think it is. So for more information you can visit myself at Richard Smith at thefinancezone.co.uk. We've got some information there about some really poor providers in the marketplace. Certainly if you've got a personal pension plan that's on the list that's listed on the financezone.co.uk, you really needed to get that reviewed. And we're really happy to start to deal with that for you if you would like us to. And we've got a range of independent financial advisors and pension experts and complaint handlers which can pick that up for you. You can contact me directly on Richard Smith on 0845 226 9106. Thank you very much for your time today. Nest, which is the new thing that's being rolled out for employees very, very shortly, is not going to be the thing you think it is, and I urge you to get your pensions reviewed as a matter of priority, and if necessary contact us. Thanks very much for your time. My name is Richard Smith, one part of a business called The Finance Zone.